Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Q&A session with Mike. I'm Stephanie Wedeling. I'm the Public Information Officer for the department. We're glad you're here. We're going to go through and answer some questions that you've submitted. If you have additional questions throughout the session, please continue to submit them through the form, and we will answer them as best we can and as many as we can as they come through. Mike, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Well, thanks, Stephanie, and welcome everyone. I hope everyone's summer is going as well as it can, considering this pandemic that we're in. We are trying to do normal things, but it's not quite normal out there yet. So I hope everyone at least is enjoying their summer as best they can. And I know we've tried to do some things in the agency to have our summer games that have been probably preempted by this pandemic, but we're still trying to have some fun as an agency and do some fun things. And so we had our very first summer game, and that was our Photoshop the Boss contest. And I have to say, there's a lot of talent out there, a lot of creative people, a lot of fun. People are doing some great things, and I like to winners are coming in bronze, Gary Gerber. Coming in silver, Travis Workman, and gold, Tim Cornea. And I think this is Tim Cornea's image, and with me and Colonel Sanders with Bob Ross. And so what a great idea. No mistakes, just happy accidents. It was a lot of fun. We saw some amazing submissions. It's funny because my brother-in-law just had his 40th birthday party, and we did a Bob Ross episode, and we all painted, and I would be so embarrassed if mine ever saw the light of day. But this is talent. This is amazing. So congratulations to everyone, especially the bronze, silver, and gold winners. But again, thanks to everyone for participating. We've had a lot of fun doing it, and we're going to do some more things coming up. We hope you'll participate in those, but we are trying to have some fun as an organization. Even though we're separated, we're trying to stay connected. And so thanks again, and hopefully we'll have the next one coming up here in the coming week. So with that, stay tuned, and we'll see what we can do. But there are some COVID updates we'd like to give you. First of all, our COVID updates were still, Salt Lake City is still orange, and I believe Salt Lake and San Juan County may still be orange on the risk scale, which means we have some very strict guidelines on what can be done within Salt Lake City. And so we're still continuing to work as if we were in the orange category, but we're still hoping that teleworking is working for everyone, and that we've been able to help the agencies even though we're working remotely. But we'll continue to evaluate where things are, and we'll continue to give out updates as best we can as things change and as we continue to get through this. It's a challenge, I know. I don't think I've ever watched so much Netflix in my life, but we're still trying to find new things on Netflix. So if you have any suggestions, submit those. We've been seeing some crazy things out there, and my daughter is watching something called Criminal Minds, and I saw my first episode this weekend, and it's crazy stuff out there. But in any case, I hope everybody at least can get through this and working in this new environment. We are always following the directions of the governor's office, the Department of Health, the CDC, hopefully trying to make sure that we're keeping our employees as safe as possible. We want to be safe out there. I know that our numbers increased a bit, and we're trying to make sure that the things that we do here at the agency will follow those guidelines and keep people safe. I know that you've seen the Wear a Mask campaign. I've got mine, so whenever I'm walking around the office, I try and wear my mask. And if I'm certainly walking over to the Capitol, I have mine on. although when I'm in my office like this, of course I'm not wearing it, but do all you can to think of others. I think that's a great gesture, to think of others, because of that. The transmission rates go down considerably by wearing a mask, and the governor has issued an executive order that we wear masks in buildings. Sometimes I think I'm going to run downstairs and grab a drink or something real quick, and I don't wear my mask, and I pass somebody, and I feel like I've committed some unpardonable thing because I'm not wearing my mask as I'm walking by them. But consider others and consider what you can do to help others, and I think this is one of those gestures. So again, thanks for everybody's work on that. We will be continuing to telework. I know that we kind of jumped into that as an emergency, and we didn't quite get all of the forms done, the training accomplished, the metrics complete, but that we do need to follow our telework policy and make sure that we are following all of that. And maybe I'll just have Dan just kind of add a little commentary on this part of teleworking.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, we're excited. As Mike said before, we wanted to be a leader in the telework space. Back in March, we didn't know that it was going to be such an amazing ride with this pandemic. So we told a lot of people, if you're just going to be out for a couple months, that was way back then, that just to fill out the telecommute form and not the telework form. But now that we've had some experience and there's been a lot of people that have been teleworking, we're going to round back and get people to do it right into the telework form with the metrics. So we've been told from the governor's office there's new trainings for employees and managers, and we're actually going to be doing a couple of sessions of Q&A and phase 2 of our teleworking program coming up later in August. So we're excited to roll those out coming up.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Appreciate keeping us on track to make sure that we're doing things the right way. So we do have, again, a large initiative. I'd like to see us teleworking more. I think I shared this in the last town hall when I was listening to a legislative committee, and somebody that was presenting said, yeah, our goal is 30%. And the legislator pretty much said, 30%, what, we thought you were going to do a lot more than that. So I think we have the support of the legislature. We certainly have the support of this agency and the support of the governor's office to promote this. And we want to make sure that we're doing it in a responsible way. And hence the thing that Dan just mentioned, we have training. We don't want to lose this opportunity just because we've made a misstep somewhere. And so I think it's a great perk for many of us. I'd like to see us continue to do it and just make sure that we're doing our job responsibilities wisely and efficiently, and that we don't have a decline in our work. I remember when we went to a 4-day work week with Governor Huntsman in office, and there was some pushback because I think that the sentiment was, hey, I can't get what I need on a Friday, or the work output's gone down. And so the legislature removed that perk. And I'd like to see us do all that we can to make sure that we can continue this, I think, perk for us as we work on the many duties that we have. So let's see. Other things about that. If you are having if you're sick and you contract the coronavirus, or you're caring for somebody that is sick, there is leave that is available, and you can certainly contact HR. There is also leave for those that are without childcare. And so my message is, let's figure out how to be flexible. When I was talking to somebody recently about this, I said, hey, if there's a way that somebody is in the home, is required to work out of the home, and you need to change your work hours, as long as it allows you to still do your job duties, do it. I've been on a lot of calls where I've seen kids in the background, kids on a lap, and I think that's fine, as long as we're able to do our job responsibilities. We need to figure out how to be flexible in this challenging time. So work with HR, work with your supervisor, Find out if there's a challenge that I'm sure I won't think of every possible scenario that many of you are dealing with. So that's why we've got some great HR folks. We've got great supervisors and managers out there that can work through this. And I'd say the overarching principle is let's figure out how to be flexible. Let's continue to serve our customers and take care of our families. So there's some great overarching principles there. But we do have some, unfortunately, we do have some job responsibilities and to take care of so many. Let's see. If you are exposed to COVID-19, make sure you report that to HR, and if you're being tested, so that we can make sure that those that you've worked with, or those that you've come in contact with, or even just to anticipate some leave, let HR know that you're dealing with that, and we'll make sure everything gets in motion after that. So that's kind of the latest on what I see with leave and the coronavirus. And if you're anxious about special sessions, I have a feeling we're going to see one in a couple weeks. I don't know. I know that they're going to be talking about privacy things. I don't know what kinds of budget impacts are still out there. They may still talk about that. Our revenue estimates look good from the last special session, but I think that we'll start to see things. I did something to activate Siri. I think we'll still see things coming out of this next special session that will give us guidance on how we as an agency continue to need to respond. Like I said, the numbers are still kind of high. I know that there was some numbers that weren't being counted properly that got rolled into one day, so also that day looked higher than normal. But at the same time, I think we met the goal. The governor said we wanted to be below, I think it was below 500 for a 7-day rolling average. And we hit that by August 1st. And we hit that. Otherwise, there may have been some greater measures. Now I think we need to continue to find things that we can do to reduce the spread. So with that, again, the special session, we're uncertain as to what all we might see. If it might be more budget impacts, budget cuts. I think they've about done all they need to, but there's still some unknowns out there. We certainly know where the state is financially, but depending on the track that this coronavirus takes, it may get worse, it may get better. We're just kind of waiting to see. So hopefully it looks good, and the state will be in a great spot. Also, you may have noticed that we'll probably have a change in administration in the governor's office, and Governor Herbert, who's been just phenomenal, has just been very successful and a very high approval rating, good for the state, is calling it quits, and we're going to have a new governor. It's looking like it might come down. Well, there are certainly down to 2 candidates, but I want DTS to look as good as it can, to kind of put some, give our outgoing governor some kudos and our incoming governor a good trajectory that we're on. And so we've been looking at some priorities that DTS might do to kind of do both of those, accomplish both of those, and I think just be a better partner to the agencies. And so really that's the number one goal, is to be that valuable partner. And so as you're looking at things, what can DTS do to help better serve the needs of the agencies? We're going to identify some things that will help. I'm meeting regularly with the directors of the agencies. I was until the coronavirus hit, and I think we're rekindling that now so that I can make sure that I hear firsthand, is there someplace DTS might need to step up its game, or hey, DTS is doing some great things out here, and that's really what I'm hearing a lot of. And unfortunately, you'll probably hear me go after those things that I hear that are negative, because I'm so customer driven. But I want everyone to know that we are doing some incredible things out there. We are doing some amazing things. I look at where Utah ranks as a state. I look at where we are in our response to so many things, and I think Utah is doing a great job. And so, kudos to so many. There are some things that I think we could do better on, and those are the things, unfortunately, I seem to stay focused on rather than giving the kudos as much as I do. But being a valuable partner is certainly the one of the most important things to me. And as part of that, a lot of agencies want to continue to move to the cloud. I'd like to continue to move to the cloud. I hear from so many. The legislature would like us to see us move to the cloud more quickly. There are so many. We're trying to do this very aggressively on some tight timelines, and so I want us to a little more quickly. Our goal was to move 30% of our workloads this year to the cloud. And that does position us better down the road when our data center does get funded to the I keep calling it the TSOB, the Taylorsville State Office Building. We will be in a better position to move things to the Taylorsville State Office Building data center as we vacate this one. If we've moved many of those workloads to the cloud beforehand. I get we're going to have a lot of on-prem for well into the future, but there are things that we can do to move to the cloud and take advantage of so many features that are out there, take care of the scaling opportunities that are out there, take care of the agencies as they see so many features that are out there. I heard a statistic recently that between AWS and Azure, they released 1,000 new features this year alone that we could take advantage of if we had moved some things to the cloud. So we're continuing to push on the gas on that one, and I want to make sure that we are encouraging the agencies the right way, marketing this appropriately. If the agency needs a DR perspective or a speed perspective or a scalability perspective, those are the kinds of things that we need to be able to be educated on and to educate the agencies. VoIP, will continue to push VoIP in this telework initiative. Having us migrated to VoIP will be a huge benefit for those that are teleworking. We're trying to make sure that we're, again, an asset to the agencies as they're trying to move there and trying to use the soft phones on their computers or other mechanisms that make their job easier. And so VoIP is helping us do that while at the same time getting out of some of these older systems to save the state some money. And so there's a couple of initiatives that way to support VoIP. So yeah, you'll probably see us being very aggressive on that front. Another area I think that we've been challenged on, and that's our deployment speed of computers. Now I get that sometimes the agencies will buy computers at the end of a fiscal year, and or they'll have some grant money they need to spend, or whatever the case may be. They spend that money and then they sit on the computers for a month or two while we're trying to figure something out. Those aren't really the ones I'm talking about. It's the ones that that we are trying to deploy, yet we're so busy between keeping the lights on and trying to deploy computers that we're challenged. And so I want to find ways that we can deploy our PCs more quickly. We're working on some things on that front. I remember being called out in a legislative committee meeting about some of how long our metrics were looking like. Now, some of it just might be reporting that we just didn't check in the machine or get the machine on the desk and note that the customer now had their computer. Whatever the case may be, we just have to be able to go into those meetings with the metrics behind us backing up what we're doing. So we'll see some initiatives on the PC deployments. We call it a freaky fast computer, stealing a line from Jimmy John's. A freaky fast computer, freaky fast, fully functional computer. I think if that's enough alliteration, I think I got it. But in any case, we are trying to look at how to do that as efficient as we can. And so again, watch for changes there. Desktop as a service, or DaaS, we're doing some things there, again, to help the telework initiative and to provide some less expensive options for the agencies. You'll see Chromebooks in our in our service catalog, so a cheaper way to buy computers and at the same time connect to the DAS environment remotely through those Chromebooks. I've had one. Unfortunately I should have used it to talk to you on this call, but I sometimes have both going. So I've been in 2 meetings at the same time with my Chromebook and my other laptop. But I've just been so impressed with the feature sets there. I remember years and years ago in the governor's office, we bought a bunch of Chromebooks, and they were wildly successful. They would grab them, go to a committee meeting and whatnot. I think many of the folks over there now are on laptops, so they're not used as much, but I know there are a lot of our agencies, our customer agencies, that really would like us to give them options this way. And so this will be another initiative that you see that's going to go very quick and provide what I think and what the agencies are telling me their needs are to meet their needs and save some money. Again, this pandemic has been very expensive for the state. You'll also see a couple of efforts on security. We're trying to, it's crazy the things that we have to go through to maintain the security of the state, of all of our systems, but it's a reality. And we want to make sure that the agencies are partnered with us on this, and that we're also providing new things and more secure environments for the agencies. So some of the initiatives, I have 2 initiatives that fall under that, and you'll see us going quickly on Scout. That's something that the agencies have been asking for a long time. As a matter of fact, I remember this goes way back to I'll call it a data incident with some Medicaid data a number of years ago, and being unable to check some boxes that we were under an OIG audit. And Scout allowed us to do that. And now I feel like we just got to hit the finish line on this, and you'll see us being very aggressive on our Scout effort. I know Scott's scheduling some stand-up meetings, daily stand-up meetings, and we want to make sure that we can take care of the agency needs and keep our nose clean with the feds, so that we don't have an incident like we had before. And along with those security efforts, we're going to push on our multi-factor authentication efforts. You continue to read about breaches that are occurring out in the industry, and if they just had 2-factor authentication, or at least multi-factor authentication, they probably would have avoided this issue. And we've been talking in cabinet meetings a lot about this for over a year, that this is available and that we want to continue to be supportive of this. And this is another one I think you'll see us hit the finish line on in the very near future. So as a matter of fact, I'm getting a spam call right now just on my phone. So thinking of what efforts are out there by some of these folks, it's really unnerving. I was talking to the CIO of the state of Washington. They had a little over $1 million lost in unemployment insurance. Now, I don't know if either of these 2 efforts could have saved that, but it certainly may have helped. And so we want to make sure that we're doing all we can to stave off these losses to the state, and to make sure our data is protected and safe, especially when we're trying to go as quickly as we can with so many things like DAS, like I was suggesting, DAS, which may be holding some regulated data there, and we want to make sure that it's protected. So there's so many things, so many reasons to do this. We'll be going very quickly on it. So with that, I think that wraps up the things I wanted to talk about. And excuse me, Stephanie, I think we have a few questions that came in. Maybe we could run through those questions.
Yeah, let's start with tuition reimbursements. So is tuition reimbursement still suspended for the fall semester? And then what about the future?
Yes. Now, this is one that I've always tried to encourage. I've tried to support, and I continue to this is a continued priority for me. However, I think just with the budget constraints we're under right now, they'll be suspended for fall, and we'll reevaluate for the following semester. I'd love to get back to this where we can offer this, but our budgets were cut pretty deep, and we're still trying to recover. I can see as we're building our base budget back in with the legislature next session, we'll get some of these things put back in. But unfortunately for now, I don't see us moving this direction in the fall semester.
Okay. Vacation time, so annual time. With COVID going on, it's been a little bit more difficult for people to use their annual and comp. Are we going to be able to roll it over? So comp time expires in October, and annual leave above 320 hours expires in December.
Right. That's a really good question. I'm trying to take a little leave here and there as I can. And the coronavirus has made travel interesting. You know, I didn't have any trips to France or anything like that planned, but I would love to be traveling a little more. And yes, this coronavirus has kind of preempted some of that. However, it doesn't mean you shouldn't take some time away from the office. I've been reading a book called Peak Performance, and it talks about, if you're too nose down, too long, you're not performing like you should. And I'm going to tell a quick story. In the book, there was two groups that they brought in to do this study. One, they told this group to solve a problem, and they gave them the exact same problem, and then they were monitoring how quickly they could they were trying to get them to see how many times they would try and solve the problem, how creative they were on their problem solving. And technically the problem couldn't be solved. I don't remember what the problem was, but it could not be solved. But they were just trying to see creativity and persistence on trying to solve the problem. And that was one group, just the test group. The other group, they actually put some chocolate chip cookies in there, and they tried to make a distraction so that they wouldn't be focused on the problem so much, and they'd have the chocolate chip cookies. And they said that the group that had the distraction for the chocolate chip cookies they weren't as creative. They didn't solve the problems as much because they were really thinking about eating the chocolate chip cookies once this was done. And so the mental capacity is really a finite thing, is what they were getting to, is like, hey, if you focus on the problem solving or you focus on the willpower to avoid the chocolate chip cookies, it's going to diminish your mental abilities. And so then they were talking to athletes that were training, and they were saying, hey, there was some of these cross-country skiers, and they wouldn't train going up the hill very aggressively because they had just done that, and they're in their rest period. And so the point of the book is that we need to rest. We need to rest ourselves mentally, emotionally, physically, and that way that you're running at the best you can. So I would still encourage you to take off, take time away from work, use that leave that you can. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to change HR rules, and I can't do that. So I would still say, even though you can't travel like you were expecting to, still take the time away from work so that you're doing the best you can for yourself. I think it's better for your own well-being to take that time away. We just went up to a lake this weekend, had some great time away. It allows you to hit the reset button a little bit. I don't know that I was completely separated from work the whole time, but it did allow me to get a little reset in. And so I would encourage you to take that same thing, do that same thing, and play hard and work hard.
Great. We've had a lot of questions about teleworking in the future. I think you have addressed most of it with, we are allowing teleworking, just follow the policy and complete the correct forms and the trainings. So that includes those people that are over the age of 65 and with health issues, and also with children. But what about remote working out of the state? We have a couple of questions about that.
Out of state, that's a really good question, and I know that some states are looking to Utah to hire people. We have a great talent pool here. These other states can probably compete with salaries better than we can. However, there's some tax implications that come up if you're a resident of another state. And you certainly need to look at those tax implications. Right now, I don't know that I would be really I would approve something, people living out of state permanently. If you had to go out of state, take care of a loved one or something like that on a temporary basis, then great. And we have the ability to telework, great. But as far as permanent residents, no. I know there's a lot of tax implications and other things, I think, that would really make it a challenge for us to live in another state. But at the same time, certainly, I think on a temporary basis, we could do something like that.
Yeah, so if that need arises, please work with your supervisor and work with HR and also with security.
Yes, good point. And also just one more thing about teleworking, and I'm a strong advocate. I'd really like us to see an increase in our teleworking initiative. I know that because of the coronavirus, people that thought that they couldn't telework can now find ways to telework, which has been really refreshing. And there are some, a very small amount of jobs in the state that require us to be on site, and we'll find those. There may be a way to be flexible and do some on site and some teleworking. But certainly, I'm really excited because of the coronavirus. If there's a silver lining in this, that we've learned how to telework, and so I'd like to see us continue to push that.
Okay. We had a few other questions in here, but I think I will address those individually, one-on-one with you. I think that is about it for now.
Okay. Well, thank you, Stephanie.
Okay. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
All right. Enjoy your day, everyone. We'll see you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.